everyone, my name's Naomi. Welcome to our channel. Today I just wanted to take you on my little adventure as I am canning my black beans. We try very hard to keep black beans on our shelf. They're so convenient. Throw them on rice with some pico and some corn. So good. It's one of our favorite meals, especially with fresh garden vegetables. So I'm going to show you my process today, and hopefully you can learn something from this process. And I will also throw some links down in the description of people that are much more experienced canners. I've been doing this for about 15 years, but I don't consider myself an expert. And as always, follow professionals. Don't take my advice, just showing you what we do to help our family save money and to eat good, nutritious food. So last night I took these beans. I have probably 4 or 5 pounds of beans in here, and I soaked them in purified or filtered water. I have a Berkey filter, and I use that water to soak my beans, and they absorb quite a bit of water. I think this is important for digestion. It's important for the cooking process, so you don't have beans that expand too much and run the risk of shattering your jars in the pressure canning process. So this is what I have, and I'm going to take these now and run them through a strainer and get them completely rinsed. I don't want any of this yucky black water here. I guess it's not yucky, but I don't want any of this water to be in my jar. And then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so I brought this big bowl of beans right here over to our sink, and I have my strainer. I'm just going to take these. I do not have a big house or a big kitchen, so I'm trying to show you the best I can. I'm going to take these beans and just scoop them out like this. And once this is full, I'm going to get them rinsed and put into a large stock pot. So I'm just running cold water over them, giving them an excellent rinse so that all the black water comes off. And then once I see that the water is running clear, I dump them out. Got these beans completely rinsed. They're in this huge stock pot, and I'm going to take my measuring cup and fill this up with filtered water from our Berkey. This is a pretty full pan. I'm going to switch some of this over to a smaller stock pot. I know this is going to boil over and cause a mess on my stove, so I'm going to switch some of this over. Okay. Now I have both this pot and this smaller pot here that I'm going to put on my stove and get this starting to boil. You want your beans to boil for about 30 minutes. It helps them to finish their I call it the expanding process. You want them to be as full and plump as they can be before you put them in the jar. And this is my method. I hot pack it. And then I'll show you after this is done boiling what I do next. So this is what it looks like after they're done boiling for it was like 40 minutes, I think. They absorbed a lot more water, but they should be good to go for canning now. I'm going to take these beans and I'm going to once again strain them and get rid of that. And I'm going to boil some filtered water on my stove and keep it really hot. So when I'm done packing my jars, I can fill them with fresh water. And over here you can see these have been washed and sterilized. The lids as well. I got my rings. They're all been washed. This is for me for debubbling. I like using this better than the little plastic thing. And then my jar grabber I have ready to go. And then, excuse me, here I've got vinegar in a bowl to wipe my rims and a rag to wipe the rims with as well. So I have everything set up ready to go. So now I just need to drain my beans and get some water boiling. Okay, this is my canner. It is a pressure canner. It's a Presto. I don't know what model or make it is. It's old. I was actually given this canner. But I put about an inch of water. It's hard to see in the bottom, and I will adjust if need be. You do not want to cover your jars with water when you're pressure canning. You just want enough water in there to create steam. And over here I just started I put some filtered water in here to get ready to start boiling to top my jars. And I'm just going to fill my jars with the hot beans and then the rinsed jar beans. They're over here. I still got to do them. I'm going to rinse these and then I'll put them in jars to about an inch head space, and then I will wipe the rims, put the lids and rings on, and then they'll be ready to go in my canner. But my canner too is actually warming up just a slight bit, so when you put the hot jars with the hot contents into here, they do not crack or break. So I'm just going to fill these jars up with my hot beans. And just for safety, I like to do them to about right here, about an inch headspace, just in case they still have expanding to do. So I'm just going to work on filling up my jars. tip of the rag, put it in my vinegar, and I just wipe the tip around the rim like this. I add a lid and a ring, and then I just stick it in my canner that has been warming up, so they don't crack, because the water has been warming up in my pressure canner. And I'll just continue it. And I do have two, I don't know if they're dividers or what, that one sits on the bottom of the pressure canner so that the jars don't touch the bottom of the pan and like wiggle around and break. And I have one for the middle as well, so I can double stack these, which is super nice. I didn't have it before. I just got it this past year, and it has made such a big difference because I am impatient and these take 90 minutes to process, so doing one batch instead of two is quite nice. Okay, so I have my first layer of jars in the canner. I fit what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I probably could fit 9, but I'm just gonna do 8. And then I put this divider on top so I can put a second layer of jars in here. So when I pressure can, I can double. It's just nice. So I'm gonna get working on my second layer here. Here it is with the second layer on. It comes up almost to the top of the canner. And I'm going to get my lid on. See if I can do it. Probably not do this with one hand, but I'm gonna try. Yeah, put my lid on. It like lines up right here, and you have to turn it so that it seals. And I turned the heat up, and I'm going to let this come till this little nozzle, it'll start streaming constantly, and this guy will pop straight up and he'll stay up. And then I will put a timer on my clock back there for 10 minutes, and I will show you that when this comes up so it will boil. I don't know if you can see that little stream a little bit right there of steam. It's still not ready to go. Like, it's a good little stream of steam coming out of there, but this guy, he needs to pop up first. So we have this weight here that goes on here, but he cannot do it until after it steams for 10 minutes with this little guy popped up, which should happen in the next couple minutes. So another thing I'm doing to prepare is I got these like towel placemat things out. They're pretty thick. I've had these for years, you can tell. I am going to lay these on my counter because you do not want to put those hot jars onto a cold surface. And so once they are done pressure canning for the 90 minutes it's required, I will lay them here to cool until tomorrow. So I wait for about 24 hours until they are completely cool, and I know the lids have sealed to take the rings off and everything. So here's the sign that this is getting ready and coming up to where I need it to be to start my 10-minute timer. This little guy is starting to spit out water, and there's a pretty steady stream coming out. I don't know how much you can see. Oh, that's pretty good. You can see that. So I'm waiting for this little guy to pop up right here. And then once he does, we can put the weight on the little nozzle and get our canner up to pressure. Okay, so now this guy came out. He's popped up, and we have a really good stream of steam coming out of here. I'm going to set my timer back here for, see if I can burn my arm, 10 minutes. And then we'll let that steam for like that for 10 minutes before we put the weighted pressure or the little weighted nozzle on. Okay. Okay, so we had waited our 10 minutes. I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to watch this little gauge until it gets up to 10. Where I live, we go to 10 pounds per pressure, and you want to keep it there. You do not want it to go below that during your processing time, or you have to start all over. So you do not start the timer until this little black nozzle comes up to 10. So once we get there, we'll set our timer for 90 minutes, and we'll just adjust the heat to keep it there. And then after 90 minutes, I'll show you the next step. Okay, so we're almost there. You can see we're just about hit 10 pounds of pressure. And there we go. So now I'm gonna set my timer for an hour and a half. And I'm going to watch this gauge. I don't want it to get too high, so I will just adjust the heat as needed on my burner, and once eventually it gets stabilized and I won't have to watch it as much. But I don't leave my kitchen. See how it's going above 10. You'd rather it be above than below, so I just will adjust my heat a bit to keep it at around 10 pounds per pressure. And then, like I said, we'll let that go for an hour and a half, and then I'll come back and show you what I do. When you are done and you turn your burner off and let it naturally come down, you do not touch this guy. You don't touch it. You leave it on until it completely cools. This will go to 0, and this guy right here he'll drop, but I still wait. It's just like an extra precautionary thing. So once we get there, I will show you that. Okay, so it's been about 90 minutes, an hour and a half. You can see there's what, 25 seconds left. And as soon as that timer goes off, I'm turning the heat off, but I'm not doing anything else. I'm just going to let this completely come down. You'll see this will slowly start and going down, and once it gets to 0 and this drops, it's safe to take this off, but I'm going to let it go for a while. All right, our timer went off, so I'm just going to take this and go off. It's done. So I'm gonna let this go until, like I said, that gets to 0 and that little nozzle goes back down. Okay, so this guy is at 0, right? I'm still not touching this. This guy, there's so much pressure still in there. You don't want to take that off until the pressure is released and this guy goes down. After that, I will be able to take him off. Oh, I made him noise. But yes, so just be very careful. Pressure canning isn't as scary as it seems. You just have to follow the safety rules. All right. Okay, so he fell down. Now I'm taking this guy off. No more steam's coming out of it, but I'm gonna let it sit for probably till what, 4 or 10? So about 10 minutes. And then I'll take the lid off and I can remove some of these jars. Okay, so this is done. I'm going to turn the lid and open this guy up. And our jars are good. They're ready to go. And I'm just going to take these out and sit them on our mats here. So these are gonna sit and cool. Oh, they're making noise, my favorite noise ever. Tomorrow I will show you how I clean them off. You do not touch these rings. These rings on the outside stay on 24 hours. I don't do anything. These just sit here on my counter until tomorrow, and I will check them and make sure the lids, I'll take the rings off they're already loose. But I'll make sure that the lids are completely secured. You don't want any bulging or anything in your lids. You want to make sure they're completely secured on, and then I will wipe them down, I will label them, and I will put them in our pantry. I just wanted to say thank you for joining me. Like I said, I'll show you what these look like in the morning when the rings come off and I wipe everything down. But I love preserving food for my family. I love having it on the shelves. I love having especially ready-made things just to dump out, heat up real quick, and just go. It brings such a sense of calm when things are complete chaos, and when life is super busy, it's good to have these things. And then tomorrow I'm going to be canning Mexican chicken soup, which I said it's so good, and some of these beans will be used in that, and I'll show you that process as well. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.